Good morning, everyone. I will call to order the April 18, 2024 Clackamas County Board of Commissioners business meeting. Administrator Gary Schmidt, would you please take the roll call?
Yes, thank you, Chair Smith. First, our staff support today. Clerk to the Board, Tony Mayernick. County Counsel, Stephen Madcore. Commissioner Savas is returning from a transportation regional meeting and is delayed, but will be here shortly. Roll call. Commissioner Schrader.
Here.
Commissioner West.
Here.
Commissioner Shull.
Here.
Chair Smith.
Here. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning, everyone. We are holding this meeting in person and virtually. If you've joined us via Zoom for this meeting and are interested in providing public comment, we will prompt you regarding how to do that when the time is right. General public comment will be taken at the usual allotted time. I would like to remind all participants, including staff, elected officials, and members of the public, that Robert's Rules of Order will be followed in this business meeting. We welcome your opinions and look forward to your polite comments. A quick reminder. The board has been invited to speak at the Business of the County event hosted by the Oregon City Business Alliance, and we will adjourn this meeting at 11 a.m. today so we can be there on time. Thank you. Gary Schmidt, what's the first item?
Thank you, Chair. First item is a presentation, and it is May 2024 election update from our county clerk and the clerk's office. Presenting is Clackamas County Clerk McMullen and Justin Larson, the elections manager for the clerk's office. Welcome, and go ahead, please.
Thank you. Go ahead. Thank you. Introduce yourself, please.
Thank you. My name is Justin Larson, and I'm the elections manager.
Thank you, Chair Smith, Commissioners, for the opportunity to speak to you and the public about the upcoming May 21st, 2024 primary election here in Clackamas County. I'm Catherine McMullen. I'm the elected county clerk and head election official for our county, and I'm here with Justin Larson, our elections manager. As a courtesy, before each election, we have a brief informational presentation for the board. So we'll give our presentation, and then we're happy to take questions or comments at the end.
The first item we wanted to review was the last election that our office conducted, which was the November 7th, 2023 special election. A few data points we wanted to provide. We had 151,881 eligible voters with a total turnout of 32.27%. 417 ballots were challenged and could not be accepted because of signature issues, such as they did not sign their return envelope or the signature did not match. The election cost per eligible voter was $1.43, and the election personnel cost per 1,000 ballots processed was $807.
I'll provide you some information and key deadlines for the May 21st, 2024 primary election. You can see the full list of deadlines and resources on the Clackamas County Elections website. Next week, the voters' pamphlets will begin to arrive at all Clackamas County households. The county voters' pamphlet will be inserted in the center of the state pamphlet. This reduces the overall cost of printing and distribution. The voter registration and party choice deadline is April 30th, and Oregon has closed party primary elections. To vote in a major political party's primary nominating election, so that's either the Democratic or Republican Party, you must be registered with that political party by that April 30th deadline. You can register to vote, update your voter registration, or choose a political party online at OregonVotes.gov. More than 40%, or 130,000 voters here in Clackamas County, are either unaffiliated or belong to a minor political party. Voters registered with a minor party or as non-affiliated will receive a ballot with only nonpartisan contests and measures. Ballots are going to be mailed beginning on May 1st, and all new voter registration and party choices must be completed by that April 30th deadline. Our office is going to be open until 7 p.m. on April 30th that day to assist voters. As you can see by this list of what's on my ballot, there are several contests and measures for this election. Where you live determines what districts, measures, and contests are on your ballot. So please update with us when you move. We will have all of our 25 official ballot drop sites open so that voters who have an election can return their voted ballots to their drop site of choice. The Milwaukee City Hall, as you know, has moved a few blocks north, and the drop site has followed it. The Happy Valley Library is undergoing continued construction, and our official ballot drop box is available inside the library during open hours. There is still a 24-hour drop box access at the Happy Valley City Hall. I want to thank the city and library partners for continuing to help with communication about these changes. This is the first countywide election with the newer, larger 6x9 ballot envelopes that we discussed last fall, and the ballot packet no longer contains the optional secrecy sleeve. That's because it does not need one, and instead a secure privacy weave is embedded directly into your official ballot return envelope. When you put your ballot into your envelope, that privacy weave prevents anyone from seeing how you voted, and this change has been approved by both the Secretary of State and the U.S. Post Office. You can always find additional information on our website about this election. We encourage voters to sign up for Track Your Ballot, and it's an easy way to know where your ballot is in the voting process from mailed to accepted. You can sign up to receive alerts via text, phone, or email, knowing when your ballot is mailed to you. And I know that voters lead busy lives, and not everyone checks their mail every day. So signing up for Track Your Ballot alerts you that an important piece of mail is on its way, your ballot. Track Your Ballot is one of the tools that we offer to enable a secure, hassle-free voting experience. You can sign up either on our website, pointing your phone at the QR code on the slide, or just go to the website there on the slide. We continue to make strides in equity and inclusion work in the clerk's office, working to ensure that every eligible voter has the resources they need to vote easily and without barriers. Recently, on April 5th, ballots were mailed to our more than 500 active military and overseas voters 45 days before Election Day. We have extended office hours when we can, including the voter registration deadline, and our Track Your Ballot service is available in English and Spanish, as well as text and voice notification options to meet your individual accessibility needs. These considerations and others allow us to continue to focus on accuracy, transparency, and inclusion in all of our efforts.
Finally, we encourage all the voters to get vote ready for 2024. We encourage all voters to sign up for the Track Your Ballot service by mentioning, as Clerk McMullen earlier, by using the QR code or visiting our website. We also encourage all voters to update their voter registration, and if they're not registered, to get registered by April 30th. We also encourage anyone that's interested to visit our office and to be an elections observer. We have posted the observation schedule on our website and invite anyone from the public to come in and observe. We will also be conducting several logic and accuracy tests this election, and those have been posted on our website as well. We also encourage anyone to become a temporary election worker and to get a hands-on experience in our office. And we do have an application which is provided at the link on the slide, and it is also on our website as well. So,
Justin and I are happy to answer any questions you might have, and again, invite you to come visit our office as we already are bustling with activity for the May primary election.
Thank you very much. Justin, you mentioned for people to update their voter registration. For what reason would they need to do that?
absolutely. If they need to update, say they have moved recently and they haven't notified our office of their new address, they need to do so. If anyone needs to update their party affiliation or such as name changes, if anyone's been married recently or have undergone any name changes, they need to notify our office of that.
Okay.
So.
And so you're updating your secrecy envelope. I find that fascinating. Did all the clerks in Oregon do that? Is that something that's a trend?
Most of the counties have updated the ballot return envelope and secrecy sleeve. It's going to look exactly like November, but this is the first time we have a countywide election, so every voter will get this new design.
Thanks. Commissioner West.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys giving us an update today. Thank you so much. On signatures, so let's say a voter has never filled out the paper. You don't actually have a signature on like a voter registration card. and maybe they did motor voter or they were automatically enrolled by the DMV or whatnot, where do you guys obtain the signatures that you keep? And it's my understanding you keep more than one potentially, because sometimes people sign in different ways and you build like a signature database for an individual. Can you tell me a little bit about, like, if somebody hasn't ever filled out that card, or where the signatures come from, or how do you verify them?
Go ahead.
Absolutely. So on the voter registration card, there is a spot where they do need to sign that registration card. If it is not signed, we do return it to the individual that has submitted that form to have them sign it. If we receive that data through the DMV, we do receive the signature that they make on that digital pad when they're at the DMV counter. Those signatures are transferred to us digitally.
Okay. And so if you register online, you haven't signed anything, you mail them a signature card, like in the same way a bank would? Or,
To register online, you have to have either an active Oregon driver's license or ID. And so then we do get that information from the DMV with that signature. If you want to register online without that, you fill out the form and then you print it out and mail it to us and you sign it. So it's like a way of printing out that Oregon voter registration card.
how is someone verified by just the driver's license alone that they are legally able to vote?
That information is vetted by the DMV, and they transfer only the records over to the Secretary of State's office, in which those individuals are eligible to vote under Oregon.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Schrader.
Yeah, I just want to thank you for everything you're doing, Catherine. I know that elections is so important for everything we do in this county and for our citizens. And I've appreciated how you've streamlined things and how easy you've made it for people to track their ballot. I think maybe, could you talk a little bit about that? Because that's pretty interesting.
Of course. Thank you for the comments, Commissioner. I appreciate that. Yeah, we want added transparency and accessibility, and so Track Your Ballot is probably the most visible thing for voters, and because you can sign up. It's an opt-in service. It's not something you're automatically signed up for. We have just under 3,000 voters so far that have signed up, and you get an alert that your ballot's on its way to the mail to you, so you check your mailbox, and then once you return your ballot, you'll get another alert saying that we've received it. And then a last alert saying that we've verified your signature and accepted it for counting. And if you do forget to sign or your signature does not match, then you also get an alert saying there's a problem with your ballot, please contact us. We do, of course, always send that letter within 24 hours, but this is a nice way for another way for a voter to get an alert so we can make sure that we can count their vote.
That's right. So we would encourage people to sign up for this. I think I think I've signed up. I'll double check and make sure I have, because I'd like to know when, it's always adds that feeling of security that your ballot has reached where it needs to be. So.
Thank you. Any further questions?
Chair, I have one.
Yes. Go ahead, Mr.
Good
Kosh.
morning. Clerk McMullen, you mentioned that you were going to mail out the state pamphlet inside the county pamphlet to save money. Is that right?
So the state mails out the pamphlet,
They
and
did.
the county has the option to include the pamphlet in the middle of the state pamphlet, and so that's what we're doing. It's what
yeah.
most counties do, and so the voter, every household in Clackamas County will get one pamphlet, and then the county's pamphlet is the center of it.
Okay.
And that'll start next week.
And how much are you able to save by doing that?
I'm not sure what the final total is, but we could definitely look into it
Significant,
and
though,
get back
I
to
would
you.
think. No, I don't, but that's great. Way to save some money. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Of course.
See no further questions. Thank you for coming forward and making this presentation today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to remind commissioners, we will adjourn at 11 today, and we have a very important next issue. Gary.
Thank you. Next is a board discussion item. Item 1, approval of amendment number 5 to a revenue agreement with American Medical Response Northwest Incorporated, or AMR, for ambulance services. The amendment value is estimated to be $16 million for 1 year. Funding is through franchise fee and cost savings from American Medical Response. No county general funds are involved. Rod Cook, Director of Health, Housing, and Human Services, and Denise Swanson, Deputy Director of Health, Housing, and Human Services, will present. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, Chair, Commissioners. We're in front of you today to talk about the AMR contract extension. We had Denise Swanson, who was actually involved in the negotiations with AMR, so we'll have her do the direct report.
Welcome, Denise.
Thank you. Thank you, Rod. Good morning, everyone. So today we are here to present an amendment for a one-year extension to our contract with American Medical Response Services, AMR, as you know them. The current contract does expire on May 1st, 2024, and our amendment will extend the contract for 1 year through May 1st of 2025. The amendment also addresses current contract compliance concerns. You'll recall that we discussed this during a board policy session earlier this year, and county staff have been in negotiations with AMR since then and working with them on a performance improvement plan. AMR has been experiencing post-pandemic staffing issues, making it difficult to meet the response time requirements in their contract. As we all are aware, this is not only a local problem, but a national problem as well. Due to these said staffing issues, they have accumulated liquid damages totaling $1.02 million as of February 2024, and I think we're going to have some more in March as well. To address these fines, the board requested, and AMR has agreed to do the following: provide a new service called the Nurse Navigation Program, which is a proven strategy to reduce use of ambulances, making them more readily available for urgent and emergency calls. They're going to provide an additional $200,000 in scholarships, and they're going to continue working on their performance improvement plan that is located in Exhibit A of your packet. The BCC has agreed to waive the remaining fines if AMR meets or exceeds all response time requirements set forth in the contract for a period of 3 consecutive months, as well as continue to work that performance improvement plan. Any fines accumulated during the extension period, they are still accountable for. And in return, AMR has asked for a one-time increase in patient rates, which is about 4.5% higher than the usual amount. So normally it goes up about 5.5% a year. They've asked for a 10% increase to meet the issues of inflation that we're all experiencing. And this is noted under Item 5, Section 12, patient fees for your reference. And just a quick note on the patient fees. AMR transports more than 30,000 patients per year, which the vast majority of costs are covered by health insurers. Only about 1,200 transports are self-pay, and AMR has a Compassion Compare Fund available to help folks with that who have trouble paying for it. The rate increase is anticipated, to result in approximately $240,000 of additional revenue over the period of this extension. So that concludes our presentation. We're happy to take any questions.
Questions from commissioners? Commissioner Savas.
Yeah, first of all, I want to just, as I did last time, declare a potential conflict of interest. Over a couple of years ago, prior to this issue, I took a campaign contribution from AMR, so I just want to get that on the record. I also want to say right up front that I'm considering the circumstances, which some of it you outlined, not all, but some of it you outlined. I'm okay with the extension for a year. I want to make that perfectly clear. I think it needs to be acknowledged, and I appreciate the material that you gave me yesterday, or you sent over, which I asked on Tuesday, for example, how is the performance doing thus far? And, you know, I'm okay with most of this, but the part that I don't know how I'm going to vote today. I have consternation over, again, no fault on staff, but you know, there was enough support from my colleagues to go forward with the current structure, but I really thought that the fine reduction should have been more performance-based, where it would have gradually just reduced that total amount. And as I understood, that in the first round, we waived about the net was $225,000, and this time the net we're waiving is $860,000. So, so I want to make sure that's clear. But I did think, frankly, that recognizing there's a rate increase, as you outlined, there's a lot of gives here, but I really thought that over the performance period, there could have been a mechanism in there that, again, would have gradually reduced the fine based on performance they performed. I'm just concerned that waiving the fines each time, maybe not provide enough incentive to measure up. And I know this is complicated. You did properly state this was partly as a result of the COVID crisis, the pandemic. I agree with that. But in light of that, again, as I mentioned on Tuesday, and I'll say it again, my concern has been that by expanding into Washington County, in somewhat light of not really having the staffing, that it has compromised their ability to serve our citizens of Clackamas County, which they're contractually obligated to do. So that part I have heartburn with. I recognize that the Multnomah County contract calls for a more difficult staffing thing, but that's been in place for years, for a long time. So that's a known. That was a known then when they entered into Washington County's contract, and it was a known when they entered into ours. So granted, that would help. Maybe they'll make some progress there and free up some staffing, but that's my thoughts for today, and I'm not sure how I'll vote today.
Thank you. Commissioner West.
I really appreciate the comments from my fellow commissioner, Paul Savas over there on the other side of the dais. I appreciate him. I think, at least in my perspective, when I look at this, this isn't all on AMR. Like, we created an unhealthy community that was so unhealthy that it increased in demand in such a way that they were having real difficulties meeting response times, on top of already the geographical realities that are Clackamas County. Multnomah County is a big culprit in this entire region where we are suffering with our first-hand responders not able to show up in a timely manner in which they're expected to. And they have policies with the baffling two paramedic on every single ambulance that are kind of hoarding resources. I mean, it really makes it impossible for the rest of their neighbors as they hoard the resources for first responders. I am proud, but I also believe in performance. At the end of the day, we still have to show up, regardless of those realities, and you're totally right. I think that some of the things that I like that are performance-based here that are really measurable is the really innovative approaches to try to solve the problem, like around nursing navigation. That can be an absolute game changer in a way that I think we haven't seen before. Trying to be creative with bridge programs, scholarships, getting the workforce, being workforce driven and creative despite these challenges, having tough conversations with us over a long period of time. Is it perfect? Could it be a little bit more accountable with performance-based? I see that, Commissioner. I hear you on that. But there's a lot of good in this that we have all worked on really hard. So I do plan on supporting this. And there was a lot of accountability by all of us working with a team member, not always easily, and sometimes there was tension. But in good faith, I feel like we all tried to participate in a way that got us here. So I'm looking forward to see how this 1 year works. And then we will look at it again with a critical eye and be accountable to it. But I do plan on supporting this. And Chair, thank you for the time to speak.
You bet. Commissioner Schull.
Yes, well, our current contract expires on 1 May, so it's not like we have an alternate company waiting in the wings to take over to provide this critical service to the county. We've worked on this so long, and we've been cooperative with AMR, and we have considered the situations in which they have to operate. So I recommend we support this 1 year extension today, and I trust AMR will be very conscientious in trying to perform in accordance with the contract. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Schrader.
Yeah, I've always seen this as majorly a workforce issue, not just here, but it is national. And I think that they have been good partners in the past. I think they're going to be great partners in the future for our healthcare continuum. And again, I know that we have committed, I think with scholarships and other opportunities, to really maybe expand that workforce base in terms of making sure we have the qualified people on board so those response times can be met. As I said, this is not just us, it's a national problem, not just with AMR, but other ambulance entities throughout the country, and you can look at that data. So I feel comfortable voting yes on this today. Like I said, they're our option, and I believe that we need to give them the space and the chance to fulfill their obligations.
Thank you, Commissioner Schrader. I agree with my colleagues on this. We've worked hard on this for almost a year. And I've spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to get here. We even went to the point of asking the other ambulance company to come in and help pick up the slack, and they did that. We do have a regional situation with the workforce shortage. Commissioner Savas mentioned that they took on a new contract with Washington County, made promises there. Multnomah County has a 2 paramedic requirement. We don't in Clackamas County. We have copied the nurse navigation program that's already in Clark County, Washington, which has seen very good results of about 20% reduction in calls. And what that does, it triages calls because somebody will call for an ambulance and they may not need one. And they're freeing up that ambulance to go elsewhere. In the meantime, the nurse is talking with this person, figuring out exactly what's wrong and is there an alternative available that's really not an emergency situation where you have to be transported in. The scholarship program is starting to produce graduates, and they're going to continue to produce graduates who will be employed in Clackamas County. And there's just some good in here. I've always maintained is that continuing to add millions of dollars of fines on this company where the other county has already putting fines on them will not get people to the ambulance any faster. In fact, it may hurt them. If we were to impose these fines that have added up, it will affect their bottom line and affect their economics to do business. And as Clackamas County being the 3rd smallest in the tri-counties and up for contract renewal, we don't have a whole lot of leeway in that area. So we're trying to be as fair as possible with this going forward. We cannot find our way out of a shortage of paramedics, or we cannot find our way out of slow response times. But we have sought out solutions in this. Like I said, we have the nurse navigation, we have scholarships, and we have another ambulance company coming in and helping out. I, too, took a campaign contribution. Thank you very much. Commissioner Savas.
Yeah, a couple things I forgot to mention, and I'll just deal with the second one first because of your comments, and that is, I'd say that we did all work hard on this, and it is difficult, and I think we're all trying to figure out how we thread the needle to make this work. My proposal was to put the fine, not collect it, but put the fine in abatement and let that amount be worked down based on performance. I want to make sure that the public knows I wasn't thinking that. I think the chair is probably right. If you take $1 million away from the company, that might impede their ability to serve, and I don't want to do that. But the most important thing I want to just say here, I said it on Tuesday, I'll say it again, I forgot I didn't, and that is I really appreciate not only all the work our staff done on this, but also all the paramedics, all the AMR employees, administration, all of them. They're good people trying to do good work, and we are here, and I'm wearing, at times we wear our regional hat, at times we have to wear our Clackamas County hat, and this is one of those things when it comes to life or death, matters, emergency responders, emergency service is important, and we serve the people of Clackamas County. That said, we don't know where we're going to be when we suffer any kind of emergency need. We could be in a different county or a different state for that matter. So, but overall, as a Clackamas County Commissioner, I think it's my responsibility just to be mindful of we have a higher population of elderly folks than we do younger, so we're an aging population in Clackamas County. Last time I saw the stats, so I'm mindful of that as well. So that's what I have, Chair.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve Amendment Number 5, a 1-year extension to the contract with American Medical Response Northwest, Inc. for ambulance service.
Chair, I'll second that.
Commissioner Scholl has moved for approval of Amendment Number 5, a 1-year extension to the contract with American Medical Response Northwest, Inc. for ambulance service, and Commissioner West has seconded the motion. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Would the clerk please take the poll?
Commissioner Schrader.
Aye.
Commissioner Savas.
No.
Commissioner West.
Aye.
Commissioner Shull.
Aye.
Chair Smith.
Aye, motion passes 4-1. Thank you very much. Gary, what's next?
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you.
Commissioners.
Next is the consent agenda. Tony, would you please read the consent agenda?
Elected officials, item 1, approval of previous business meeting minutes for the Board of County Commissioners. Item 2, approval of a goods and services contract with Executive Information Services Incorporated for jail management software, contract value $912,748 over 14 months, funding through Sheriff's Office operating levy and U.S. Department of Justice federal forfeiture funds. No county general funds are involved for the Sheriff's Office. County Administration, item 1, approval of amendment number 4 to the contract document with WTP America LLC, doing business as WT Partnership for P3 Technical Advisory Services. Amendment value $262,500. Contract value is $4,860,825 for 4 years and 8 months. Funding is through budgeted county general funds. Transportation and Development, item 1, approval of a resolution declaring the public necessity and purpose for acquisition of right-of-way, easements, and fee property, and authorizing good faith negotiations and condemnation actions for the El Camino Way Stormwater Improvements Project. Total project value is $1,398,000. Funding is through county allocated ARPA funds. No county general funds are involved. Item 2, approval of a contract with Steer, Davies, and Gleave Incorporated for consultant services to develop travel options action plan. Total contract value $192,995 over 14 months. Funding through Metro Regional Travel Options Grant and county road funds. No county general funds are involved. Item 3, approval of a public improvement contract with Colton Construction for the Rugg Road Landslide Milepost Point 7 project. Total contract value, $879,182.66 over 21 months. Funding is through Damascus Road Funds. No county general funds are involved. Item 4, approval of a board order to issue a purchase order for 99 traffic signal controllers through a Portland Bureau of Transportation price agreement with Q Free America Incorporated. Purchase order value $230,538. Funding through federal funds, local agencies, and county road funds. No county general funds are involved. Health, Housing, Human Services, item 1, approval of amendment number 2, increasing funding of a personal services contract with Lions for Life for crisis and support line services. Amendment value $104,000 for 2.5 months. Contract value increased to $553,967 for 2 years and 7 months. Funding is through the Oregon Health Plan. No county general funds are involved. Item 2, approval of revenue grant agreement with Trillium Community Health Plan for the 23-hour crisis Receiving and Stabilization Center. Agreement value is $179,607 for 9 months. Funding through the Oregon Health Plan. No county general funds are involved. Item 3, approval of revenue health care services contract with Care Oregon Incorporated for the 23-hour Crisis Stabilization Center. Contract value $3,100,000 for 2 years. Funding through the Oregon Health Plan. No county general funds are involved. Item 4, approval of amendment number 1, decreasing funding from an intergovernmental agreement with the Oregon Health Authority for the financing of community mental health, addiction treatment, recovery and prevention, and problem gambling services. Amendment rescinds $248,588.15 for 18 months. Agreement value is decreased to $15,844,233.26 for 18 months. Funding through the Oregon Health Authority. No county general funds are involved. Madam Chair, that concludes the list.
Why, thank you very much. Does any commissioner wish to remove anything from the consent agenda? I will entertain a motion.
Jerry, move that we approve the consent agenda as read.
Second.
Commissioner West has moved we approve the consent agenda, and Commissioner Schrader has seconded the motion. Any further discussion? Seeing none. Tony, please take the poll.
Commissioner Schull.
Aye.
Commissioner Savas.
Aye.
Commissioner Schrader.
Aye.
Commissioner West.
Aye.
Chair Smith.
Aye, motion passes 5-0, and here we are at public communication already. Frankly, I thought these items would take more time than they have, but we will go ahead with public communication. This portion of the agenda shall be limited to items of county business which are properly the object of board consideration and should be nonpartisan in nature, as the BCC is a nonpartisan governing body under Oregon Revised Statutes and County Code. Testimony is limited to 3 minutes. Comment shall be respectful and courteous to all. As a reminder, you can email submissions for public communication at bcc@clackamas.us, and these will be accepted as part of the public record. I will now open the public meeting for public testimony and take in-person people first. Excuse me. Is there anyone in the room who would like to testify today? See no one. Tony, is there anyone online?
Madam Chair, there is not anyone on Zoom at the moment.
I will now close the public testimony portion of this meeting, and we will move on. Gary, what's next?
Next is County Administrator Update. That's me. I'd like to recognize our county staff for their exceptional service. Today, I'd like to honor staff in Water Environment Services for something they did to help the community, and here's what they did. A resident wrote in to report a tree that fell onto their private property from a water detention facility or a detention basin that is managed by Water Environment Services. A detention facility is a small plot of land, usually fenced off, that allows water to accumulate until it is drained. So a tree on this land fell into a homeowner who was adjacent to this water detention facility. The matter is reported immediately. Our staff responded and fixed the tree and removed it from the private owner's property. That homeowner wrote in, Hi again. We just want to thank you and your wonderful work crews for the prompt and efficient cleanup they did to cut up and remove the fallen tree from our backyard. They also removed a number of other trees growing in the water detention facility that were deemed unhealthy or otherwise undesirable, such as cottonwoods and locusts that were invasive species. Yesterday, another crew repaired the damaged fence. You never know anything had happened at all. Thank you again. Thank you to our Water Environment Services crew who quickly resolved this issue for that community member. That is my update today. Thank you, Commissioners.
That's great news. Thank you, Gary. Now we go to Commissioner Communication. Commissioner Scholl, you're up.
Thank you, and good morning, Clackamas County. I've got a few comments for you today on a word of caution regarding energy. Recently, the Washington State Legislature passed House Bill 1589, which will effectively ban natural gas and will force businesses and families to convert to all electric. It also will outlaw the sale of gas-powered cars by 2035. At the same time, the state of Washington has removed 2 dams on the Elwha River in the last 10 years. They have an agreement with the Biden administration to remove 4 dams on the lower Snake in southeastern Washington. And they're even looking at the dams on the Columbia. But at the same time, Washington uses 67% of its electricity comes from hydro projects. That's totally insanity. So at the same time, the people in Washington state have complained, nearly 2/3 of the families in the state, that they're having a hard time paying their energy bills as it is. So this is a lesson for the state of Oregon, something we don't want to replicate. You know, last year in 2023, Ford Motor Company and GM Motor Company together lost billions of dollars in their investment on electric vehicles. The sales simply didn't match their projections. Meanwhile, Akio Toyoda, chairman of the Toyota Motor Corporation, has steered away from producing all electric vehicles because he knows most nations cannot go to all electric simply because they don't have the money to build new generation projects for electrical requirements. So last year, although Toyota sold 11.2 million vehicles worldwide, only 104,000 of them were all-electric plug-in battery vehicles. they did sell more hybrids, but they have very little investment in all-electric vehicles. I think that's very smart, because as people look at the climate and look at moving towards green energy, no one has come up with the cost to build the new generation capability to energize an all-electric state or county. So we have to learn from mistakes that are being made in Washington State. We cannot allow this to happen in Oregon or in Clackamas County. Also, every time a new cost on energy, gas or electric, goes up, the difficulty for families to pay their bills at the end of the month goes up also. So another thing on housing is that a recent report from KGW stated that to buy a home in the city of Portland, you would need to make $65,000 more than you did in 2020. That's how fast housing is going up. And in the last 4 years, housing's gone up at an average of 12.6%, while incomes have gone up only some 10%. Okay, so this is only getting worse. And until people open their eyes and realize that housing is an issue of supply and demand, and to build housing, you need land to build it on, and you need affordable land to build affordable housing. Senate Bill 100 from 1973 that put urban growth boundaries around our cities is the culprit. It needs to be modified. That's the only way out. Please get involved, talk to your state representative on the need to modify Senate Bill 100 from 1973. And I think that's all I have for you for today. Thank you.
Thank you. We have about 4 minutes left per commissioner. Up next is Commissioner Savas.
Yeah, I'll be as quick as I can. Didn't realize that Commissioner Schull was going to talk about something I was going to talk about somewhat related. And this morning was our JPAC meeting in Portland. And as I walked in this morning, I learned from the Port of Portland representative that Terminal 6, they do a lot, the Port of Portland does a lot of shipping stuff, but Terminal 6, the shipping container industry, will cease operations in October of this year, putting a greater load on other ports and also on our highways and rail. To that note, the state of California has passed a law that that all vehicles going in and out of the ports of entry, such as Los Angeles and Long Beach, have to be done, all the containers, trucks moving in and out have to be done with zero-emission vehicles. It's state law, effective 2030.
Yeah, they have no diesel.
No diesels allowed. That's been underway for a long time.
Yes.
Secondly, the rail industry for years now has been working. There's a facility in Colorado, but where they do a lot of testing. But one of the things they've been working on there is hydrogen-powered rail, and coupled with California's investment in hydrogen, and you mentioned Toyota. Toyota built their first for-sale Toyota hydrogen fuel cell powered vehicle in 2018, I believe, 2019, the Toyota Mirai. So they have expanded their footprint in hydrogen and all of that. And the laws in 2030, California, 2035, all vehicles like Oregon have to be zero emission, not necessarily electric, just zero emission. So the comments this morning were about the RFFA bonding for previous projects that is rolling off. That's being, one of them is going to be defeased, and they want to bond on more projects. And I don't know how we're going to meet the air quality standards, but the fact that rail, West Coast Rail, is going to have zero emission locomotives by 2030, they're mandated. And the technology is already out there. All they need is the hydrogen. That our all our services, goods and services that come overseas and also go abroad are either now going to go by container, either go out of Port of Portland, Tacoma, Seattle, and Long Beach. So that's going to put a lot of stress on our transportation system. So just be mindful that comments were along those lines to some degree, but I think some jurisdictions are more project-oriented. I will just give you that update and stop there and recognizing we have a little time here today.
Thank you for Commissioner Savas. Commissioner Schrader, you're up.
Yeah, I have one thing to report today. We recently had the District Director of Housing and Urban Development bring in their federal partners to us. We had a meeting with our Housing Authority and our Early Learning Hub. Basically, HUD is pulling together programs with available dollars that as folks enlarge their housing portfolio, there are possibilities of co-locating daycare centers there, and we really got all the links from HUD of what to read and what to understand, and I think that pulling together the coalition with our Early Learning Hub and our housing folks, I know Adam Brown was there, seems to be an exciting prospect for us to increase the capacity for childcare in this county. And in particular, what I like about it is that these are folks that, you know, oftentimes they're 60%, 30% below area median income. Having childcare co-located with our housing would really help them get back to work and be participating members in our economy. So I'm looking forward to continue the work on that. I think it's pretty exciting. And again, I'm continuing to visit I did visit all the kinder cares, and now I'm starting to visit all the smaller daycare centers, and I'm getting a lot of calls from them now proactively asking me to come out and take a look and see what we can do to, you know, kind of take care of the child care deserts we're experiencing in our county.
Great.
Okay?
That sounds exciting.
Yeah.
Commissioner West.
I will save my updates of the busy week and the things I want to share with you guys till next week. We got to be somewhere. So with that, I will pass today, and I will be more long-winded next week.
That's fine. I just want to say I attended, along with Commissioner West, the Metro roundtable meeting regarding the SHS tax and how they want to renew it. This is a 10-year tax, and we're in year 3. And remember, we didn't really get much collections on year 1. So they are of the mind that, gee, it's going to expire in 7, 8 years, and we won't have any money. The tri-chairs fought hard to make a presentation yesterday. They didn't want to hear from us. Seriously, they did not want to hear from us. So we made our presentation yesterday to say we have not earned the right to change tax right now in year 3. We still have homeless on the street. Wasn't that the deal when voters approved this, to eliminate or get close to at least effective zero on homelessness? But they want to make it permanent, and they want to add housing to it. And so we've worked really hard for 3 years to get the program up and running. And now they want to pull the rug out from under us. And so basically we said no. County staff was there for the 3 counties, presented a slideshow. And by the time we got done with our half-hour presentation, we opened it up for Q&A. You could tell a shift in that entire room. They were saying, oh, this is what the counties are doing. Oh, I get it, and I could feel it, and so could staff. And then Metro came up with her next presentation. Didn't even acknowledge a word that came out of the counties at all. They went ahead with their agenda with assumptions that weren't approved of. Oh, when we do this, we will do this. And there's no accounting for reduction in homelessness in this. So all their models are based on the fact this is where the income is and this is where the homeless is. And I says, that's not right. You've got to figure in a reduction of homelessness in this. So I'm telling you folks, it is not good. I am amazed. I mean, I know what we've been going through in transportation, and I know what we've been with Measure 110, but this is obscene. Absolutely obscene in the way Metro is treating everybody in this room, especially the leaders from the tri-counties and the counties who implement this program. Metro does not implement housing. They don't know how. They barely can run the zoo, okay? They can barely run the zoo, and now they're going to come in and they're going to do this. So I'm a bit upset, as you can tell, because it's very disingenuous that they want to go out in year 3 on this ballot in November and think they're going to raise our taxes with a permanent tax. That's all I have to say for today. Thank you, Commissioners, for your good work. We will see you at the luncheon. No further business before this meeting. We are adjourned.